selected page 83 if you've got your book.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second to the last paragraph, we'll start there, okay?
All right.
But there may be some wrongs, right? Okay, so if everybody's got page 83, goes like this here. There may be some wrongs we can never fully right. We don't worry about them if we can honestly say to ourselves that we'd right them if we could. Some people cannot be seen. We send them an honest letter, and there may be a valid reason for postponement in some cases, but we don't delay if it can be avoided. We should be sensible, tactful, considerate, and humble without being servile or scraping. As God's people, we stand on our feet and we don't crawl before anyone. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. And that's the reading, Paul.
Thanks, John. And thanks. Nice to see everybody. This is not an AA meeting, as we want to stay clear on that. So if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, I'm just going to read it again. So there may be some wrongs we can never fully right. We don't worry about them if we can honestly say to ourselves that we would right them if we could. So obviously this is the instructions for the 9th step promises. And before that was the 8th step, which is the list of the amends. And usually it's nice to work with someone else because sort of like at a certain point, the amends I owed concerning one-night stands, I did not go to every one-night stand and fly to Europe and shit like that to make amends. Yes, it was going to be a living amends. And as it said here, I had a belief that I was willing to not do what I had done to those people to anyone else. Yeah, so maybe I made some living, active amends for a few, but I didn't go through, the mea culpa tour for a year. So yeah, just so you have to realize things can get self-obsessive. Yeah, even the program, obviously. And where you start going over every little thing, you're missing the big thing. Yeah, yeah. So I remember I share it a lot here. I worked with a guy, very lovely guy, and he just did inventory every day, all day, to a point where it got obsessive from my view. And I wouldn't have said anything, but he had asked me to be a sponsor, so that gave me a responsibility. So I shared it with him. I said, I think you just got to stop doing all this writing and start enjoying your recovery. Yeah. So so here it goes. And obviously some things, if you would hurt somebody, they explain it very well. And hopefully a sponsor or a mentor, or they'll be explained at meetings. If something you want to make an amends for is going to hurt a lot of people and maybe this other person, you can sort of chill it out, yes, and talk to your sponsor about it. So these are the directions of how to go about and what kind of attitude to have concerning amends, 9th step amends. So yeah, we should be sensible, tactful, considerate, and humble. Yes. So if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, so if we do step 9, Yeah. We will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to have a new freedom and a new happiness. And I love that term of new. Yeah. Because how many freedoms have we been offered by the head that turned into a large bondage of self? Yeah. And how many radical new happiness we were going to get introduced to that would change everything. But this is truly a new freedom and a new happiness, because we're not trying to be free and happy as self. We're having happiness and freedom based on losing interest in self. It's quite different. Yeah. So a lot of people are trying to be free as that which they're bound to. And the freedom, so freedom seen from the view of self is used as a bondage. Yeah. So now you just keep searching and searching and searching, and it's always you, the specific idea of you, that's doing all the searching. So after all the searching fails you, what's the one constant in all the searching? You. Maybe that's what you'd like to get relief from. Yeah. Just a simple, humble suggestion. Yeah. So a lot of people, we've been trying to get out of self as self, and in our community, it became so glaringly obvious that it became a motto in recovery, not coming from the book. I mean, I got introduced to that in San Francisco, like very early on. Self can't get out of self. Obviously, my meaning, or the meaning I have about that, has changed a lot over the years, but I heard it right away as a warning, in a sense. And I had no idea what that meant, but then I saw how you can overdo shit and stuff like that, which isn't helpful. Yeah. So we had this group we had some weird groups in AA. There was sort of like little cults. And one of them we called the pod people, POD people. And if you'd went to one of their meetings and you thought it looked just like an AA meeting, and then you'd go in there and then everyone would laugh at the same time. And it was just very strange. And then you'd realize, Jesus, all right, I gotta go. Yeah, you realize I gotta go. But so these pod people, they had a thing where they tried to combine the whole 12 steps, and all day they wrote about every fear that came up. They had a little book and they wrote about it. And so they just kept writing all day. And I used to I led a workshop, a 4-step workshop, and they would confront me sometimes after the workshop, because they had people that they were trying to get involved with them, go into the workshop. And they would saying, and I would just share. And I said, listen, I don't want to become a master of managing fear. I want to be relieved from fear. Yeah. I don't want to take inventory every day about fear. I want to outgrow fear. That's the whole point. Yeah. So this is the thing I see here. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. And if the old freedom and the old happiness seem to demand a lot of managing and control and effort and thought, the new freedom and the new happiness may not look like that. It may be quite disarming. Yeah. So hopefully we remember that suggestion. You've got to let go of all your old ideas or the result will be nil. So obviously the head has a lot of ideas that are very, very old about every freaking topic of life. Yeah. Has tons of ideas about freedom and happiness and shit like that. And by our devotion to them, we have been bound to something in pursuing freedom. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? That freedom could be a form of bondage, the looking for freedom, or the demanding of freedom, or the drive to get freedom. Yeah. So we are going to know a new freedom and new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. Now, this is incredible to me. When I did the 9th step was the most demonstrative effect of the program for me. The 9th step. in the action steps at that time. 6 and 7 is now, but the 9th step was huge because there was a giant arm of self just coming out of the past, holding me by the balls. Yeah, really. And my life had gotten so small, avoiding confrontation or running into people who I owed amends to. And I would, if I bothered somebody and they got pissed off, I would move out of state or shit. It was just fucking strange. And my life got smaller and smaller. And so I remember when I got caught in the maelstrom of making amends, I'd see someone on the street in San Fran that I owed money to. And my first reaction was to turn left in the car and take off. Then AA would drop in and I'd pull over, hey, bring him over and said, I ripped off $50 from that phone bill when we used to live together. Here you go. Yeah, it was incredible. And all these things I had been, quote unquote, successfully avoiding, I ran into. A lot of amends I ran into. I didn't want it, but they were there. My thought of running occurred and something overrode that, and I stayed and I made the amend. It was incredible. And then while I was living, it felt like a giant room of zest came in me. I felt fucking alive again. And I had been auctioned off like a storage unit. Yeah. The head was just using my present moment as a storage unit about the past, and then another storage unit about the future. And then when I was freed from that, it felt like a huge amount of energy came in. Like it says in the 3rd step, you're going to feel a new power come in. Yeah. I felt exactly like that, but mostly in the 9th step. Yeah. It was incredible. So a lot of things that I read, and I don't know if I believed them or not in AA, when I followed the program, it galvanized that belief, because you really know the problem when you're relieved of it. You really do. Yeah. And I'm telling you, you're going to align with a lot of takes in this book when you get relieved from the bondage of self. Yeah. I just don't believe that the community is at a point where they're presenting a clear idea of the exact nature of the wrong. I just don't. So here we are. If it proves helpful for one person, great. Yes. Yeah. We're not trying to, have everyone tattooed with this idea or drafted or consigned. Yes. Or come to a summer camp to get indoctrinated in this idea. It's a simple invitation. Throw it away if you don't like it. If you like it, follow maybe. See what happens. Hopefully it allows you to travel lighter, because you're sure not traveling lighter as this fucking bobbing head, Yeah. So we are going to know a new freedom. This is beautiful. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. In other words, we're not going to get a new freedom and a new happiness. Yeah. We're going to come to know a new freedom and a new happiness. So the new freedom and a new happiness was a 24/7 offer. Yeah. We were just being withheld from that offer. And now the constraints of this bondage of self have loosened enough that we now pick up this sense of a new freedom and a new happiness. It's not like it just showed up that day. It's been available, but we haven't been available. Yeah. When you're up the ass of self, your possibilities are very minor. Yeah. But once you get pulled out, these things are available to us. Where we go? We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. Weren't we living under this shadow of a lot of regrets about the past and fucking keeping that door shut on it completely? And yet life kept opening it to our discomfort. And finally, when we finally live a different way or practice a different design for living, this design for living works. Yeah. And it totally highlights that the old design for living doesn't work. Any life run on self-will is hardly going to be a success, is an advertisement for a failed system. Yeah. It's a failed system. So we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. That's incredible, man. I would like to see like a new age 2-day seminar promise that. Yeah. You, by the time you leave the seminar, you will comprehend the word serenity and you will know peace. Jesus Christ. That would be a very, very densely populated seminar if it could guarantee that. Yes? What an incredible gift. You will finally comprehend the word serenity. In other words, you'll have a meaning, not just a conceptual idea, a meaning, like a flesh and blood, juicy meaning, because you're going to be feeling serenity and you're going to know peace. Yeah. Wow. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That's incredible. Didn't you believe, this is how I felt, especially the last few years when I was just being dragged around the bottom. When I reviewed my life, I saw no value in anything that I was doing. Yeah, just didn't see any value in it at all. And if I could have thrown it away, and including me, I would have. Yeah. But yet, when I bring that life, that sorry life into AA, it produces great value out of what I saw as having no value. Isn't that unbelievable? If you had 2 pairs of glasses and one of them, if you wear them, you see no fucking value in anything. And then you're still seeing, and now you put the other pair of glasses, and you see great value in everything. Which one would you rather live? Which one would you rather wear during the day? Obviously, the second one. The new pair of glasses. This is incredible because this I've seen intimately, and so have you in the program. You have been used to great worth when you thought you were worthless. Over and over again. I got that demonstration so many freaking times. So that feeling of uselessness, yes, and self-pity, yes, will disappear. This isn't like a pill that you take to mask the symptoms. The symptoms will disappear. That's an incredible solution. It is. I read these things, I've had a very bad event of sinusitis lately, but I don't like taking pills. And I was thinking it was gotten bad, I was going to take something. So I read Claritin or something, Allegra, and basically it was good. It was saying masking the symptoms. I lived like that my whole life. I don't want the symptoms masked. I want relief from the systems. And here it is. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. Wow. We will lose interest in selfish things. So you may not be in that condition now, but stay where you are in this program and you will. This is the humble promise of recovery. Yeah. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things. Wow. Wouldn't you call yourself a selfish thing? Don't you? You take yourself to be a thing. You sure demonstrate a lot of selfishness. So we will lose interest in selfish things. Yes, you're going to lose interest in that which you're not, which is Paul. This is the whole pivoting of the program. You are a selfish motherfucking thing, seemingly. Yeah? And you're going to lose interest in it. What? Yeah. It says it right here. We will, or we already have, Yeah, so it could be future, it could be present. Yeah, we will or past, or we already have lost interest in a selfish thing. Now just add your name to the next word: Mike, Paul, Phyllis, Norman. Yes, yes, they represent what you could call a selfish thing. You may not be calling it, but probably a lot of people who have met you are calling it a selfish thing. Maybe their diagnosis is clearer than your diagnosis. So we will lose interest in selfish things. Fantastic. Don't you see that the dilemma is an excessive interest in self? Don't you? So when you lose interest in the central, like the eye of the fucking mental storm, when you lose interest in it, the storm breaks. Yes, it goes from a category 5 to a tropical storm, because the winds that are blowing this mental storm are interest and attention. And this program is moving the interest off of this selfish thing and allowing it to just expand into a larger space. Yeah. How does it describe? Hey, the better way is trusting the infinite rather than finite self. What happens when you lose trust in finite self? Hopefully it'll combine with a losing of interest. Yes. Yeah. All right. So we will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Wow. You won't even notice it in a way. Yes. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. What an incredible effect. Yeah. Our whole attitude, the all of me, like it says in step 6 and 7, take all of me, the good and the bad. Yes. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Don't you believe that's true, Michael? It's happened. It's come to pass for you. It's come to pass for many of us. Why are you going to be a special exemption? Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. When do you want that to happen? When you're around people. Yeah. And concerned about finances. Yes. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. Know how I intuitively know how to handle situations? I admit I can't handle situations. That's what I do. I tell the truth. I'm overmatched every day. Yeah. And in that admittance of powerlessness, I have a sense of power coming through, not mine, a power coming through. Yeah. Fear of people and of economic security will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And I hope that turns into a principle in your life. Yeah. You have enough sudden realizations, this is happening. I hope it becomes a principle in your life that something can do for you what you cannot do for yourself. It's really, I rely on that a lot. Yes. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. That's a pretty damn good guarantee, eh? Mm. Yeah, we can open it up. I mean, it's so beautiful. Have you ever had a book describe you to a T, such as the book of AA. I don't mean your 6'2" weight, you know, an aquiline nose or something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about our emotional, physical, mental conditions.
Thanks, Paul. Great
Yeah,
talk, man.
yeah.
If anybody's got a question or comment for Paul, go to your bottom taskbar and go over to the reactions, click on it, and raise your virtual hand, and we'll come to invite you in. If you're on the phone, tap on the phone, and scroll left till you see the reactions. We've had some Zoom bombers, man, so bear with us. We seem to get rid of them, but hey, you never know. So anybody that's raised your hand, we'll come talk to you.
It's trippy that sometimes you'll have a meeting and there'll be more Zoom bombers attending than people with a terrific need for relief from alcohol. That shows you this is a unique disease because it actually talks to us as us. Yeah. Yeah. It's this, it's if you want to call it a disease, it's a disease of the mind. It will affect the body, but it doesn't, its origin is not of the body, it's of the mind. Yeah. The problem resides right there. So it basically talks to us as us, like a parasite would to a host. If it wanted to neutralize the possibilities a host has, which is I can be free from something that I'm not, if it wanted to neutralize that, the parasite could jack in, take over the head, and talk to you as you, so that you would listen to what the parasite wants you to listen to. Yeah? You don't think that's happening to us? It happens in nature everywhere. You don't think there could be non-organic parasitical movements? Do you think they always have to be a bug or something? No. This is a parasitical movement that knows its hostility to whatever host it tries to take over, and has grown into an incredible strategy where it's how to neutralize that possibility of being free as the host from the parasite. It convinces the host it's the parasite. It's a perfect fucking neutralization. Yeah. So now you try to be free as self, not from self. It's just the way it goes. Yeah. And it sucks you dry just as much as when you're trying to be free from it as when you're, you know, in the demoralized, self-pity, incomprehensible state. Yeah. It's sort of like a charger. One charge is 12-volt. It takes longer. The 30-volt goes faster. Yeah. But basically your charge is being withdrawn from you into the parasite. Basically, your life is getting jacked into, you know, when someone jacks into someone else's electrical thing and drains it over to their thing. Yeah. You're paying like these exorbitant bills and you don't realize what's going on. And that's a condition the parasite of alcoholism loves to have us in, which is without knowing it. So without knowing it, someone's living off of the electrical thing of our house and putting it into their house. Yeah. And you're paying all the bills. Pretty good deal. Yeah. Yeah. And then when you go over there to tell the guy, he says, no, this is your house. Whatever. Oh, okay. It's insane. So
Oh, we got a hand, Terry from Camarillo, California. Come on in, Terry.
Good morning, everybody. Glad you brought up the those experiences, promises, whatever. I remember the first time I experienced one of those. It was so profound. I knew exactly where I was. I was only just a few months into the program, and I had a tendency every time that I would get in an argument with someone that if his level was here my level would go up, and then his level would go up, and then my level would go up, and then sooner or later we're really shouting at one another. So anyway, I went out to see this employee of mine, and we got into a discussion, and his voice started to raise, and mine stayed the same, and then his got louder, and mine stayed the same, and he got louder and louder and louder, and mine stayed the same. And it was an experience that I had never gone through before. And I remember driving away from there. I said, geez, something happened. What the hell happened? You know? And that was my first experience of that last promise coming through.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. And over the course of the years, the other promises or experiences have happened to me, but that was the most profound because in essence, that was the first one. So it's always good to see you, Paul, and everybody in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we get to the next person, so you read this stuff, but you're bereft of it. These things haven't happened yet, the changes, yeah? But you've read them and you can comprehend what they're saying, but you don't sense what they're saying because you're still under the old employer, yeah? You're under the defeat. But then when you have these examples, when you don't face life successfully, life is successfully faced, it blows your mind. It galvanizes reading it and what you read, and then the living of it. The living of it, you will know peace and comprehend the word serenity is much better than just, I understand that sentence, but to sense and feel it is different. And I think this is what happens with many of us. And it has such a galvanizing, I've never ran into anything in this life that I needed more than this program. Yeah. And the faith has galvanized in what's possible. Yeah. All right. Thank you. And someone else was the next one.
Yeah, Paul, see, is it David's iPhone? Screen got small, sorry. Yeah, come on in, David.
Dave Addick. Yeah, so what you read there was the step 9 promises. I'm still new to the program and how it works. I thought, I wouldn't have to preach these promises or understand them until step 9. But it's kind of weird. I'm tuning into all kinds of meetings, and like the Sunday meeting, they do the step 5 promises. I belong to the After 8 group. We do the step 9 promises. Some meetings we don't even read promises. Which one is it? The Off the Rails, they do the step 10 promises. And I asked somebody the other day, I said, why is it like some say step 5, some says step 10? I thought it was step 9. And then I found out from this girl, Kim, that there's actually 250 promises in the book. And every step's got its own series of promises. And I'm like thinking, well, why is it that when I go to this meeting, they just focus on step 9? Why is it that this one, they just focus on step 10, And it's confusing to me, and their answers were all the same. Oh, every meeting's run differently. Every meeting's got their unique way of doing things. But why is it only the step 5 sticks out to them? Why does only the step 10 stick out to them? Why is it step 9 stick out to them? Why do some don't even care about the promises? Like I go to a lot of AA meetings, and they do the 12 traditions, the 12 steps. They don't even read the promises, but then there's one AA meeting that does read the promises. So like it's very confusing to me. I'm really getting discouraged. I had my first sponsor 4 years ago. 4 days later, he died. I just had a sponsor. He has 2 kids. He's got a new job. He's got a girlfriend. He didn't have time anymore. We parted ways after I got to about step 5. Now I got another new sponsor. She just relapsed. I don't know. She says I can take her on still. I just got a new book because she didn't like the way he highlighted everything in my book, mucking and all that. So we need a new book, start fresh and all that. And I don't want to start over again. I don't want another sponsor. Some people are saying I should get a new sponsor. Some people are saying give her another chance. I'm getting really discouraged. I'm on day 16 without booze. It's so crazy hard. I was 3.5 years off drugs. I moved out to Hamilton from Toronto, but it was drugs was the problem for me, not the booze. My family's big drinkers, and now they're like shying away from me now that I'm off booze. And it's like I don't want to ruin family outings from my family because they're guilty. Like they kicked me out the other day because they didn't want to hear the meeting. You know, I told them I can't put it on mute. You got to have the volume on, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want any guilt or whatever. And everyone's like saying, just don't worry about them. Do your thing. Focus on yourself. And that's what I'm doing. You know, I go to like 4 meetings on Fridays and Tuesdays, 2 Zoom and 2 in person. I go to 2 in person on Wednesday. I'm doing what I can to keep busy, but yeah, I'm trying to understand
David,
how the promises work.
hey, David, can I just jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember, keep it simple.
I know, but I'm just overwhelmed with all these promises. It's like
That's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry
Which-
about the promises. Just keep it simple, and then the promises will be like a piece of mail that will be sent to you, and you'll open the envelope. Yes? Yeah, it's
Okay.
not gonna come all at once. They'll be delivered as you continue to stay sober. Just get the externals down. Find a meeting that you like, yes? Tell people that you're in there and make a commitment to show up, be it a Zoom or whatever, every week, and get involved with the us. Yeah, and this confusion is it's commonplace because you're coming out of something and you're moving into something else. And of course, when you're coming out of something that doesn't want you to leave, it creates a lot of clouds of confusion about the next condition because it doesn't want to leave it doesn't want to lose its supremacy. And that's the threat to this idea of self. So just try to make it simple. Try to put off the getting confused about the promises or the meetings and not be confused about the 100%ness of the first step. Just be clear about that. Yes. That you're fucked and you're not managerial quality. Yeah. And then start there and just, yeah, you don't have to run ahead and try to understand or anything. And remember, AA is an incredible program, but there's people in it, This is what happens. Yeah, and you're a people, and so, this program really works in spite of the people in it, not because of the people in it. It works in spite of us. So, yeah, try to keep it simple. I would get someone, a man, as a sponsor. I suggest that, and then, yeah, and remember, it's not the sponsor, it's the act of sponsoring, yes? And sometimes someone who wants to become your sponsor is just as fucked up as you are. We're all in the, come from the island of broken toys, yeah? So basically, find someone that you like what they say and then ask if they would help you through this confusion and keep things simple and get your externals down so that you can stay sober. And then know when to practice these principles and know your affairs. And when it comes to your family, if you can't practice them in those affairs, limit the affairs for a while. Yeah. You want to get some momentum sober, because if you are a real addict and a real alcoholic, and I cannot do that diagnosis from here, but you can, if you're fucked if this doesn't get addressed. Yeah. You're fucked. You can't, no matter how many times you change the furniture in the room, the elephant doesn't go anywhere. You've got a huge elephant in the room. It needs to be addressed. And this is one of the ways of addressing it. And this is the way it's been addressed in most of our lives. And this is what we share is from recovery. Yeah. So this would be my suggestion. And we're happy to see you here. And confusion can be quite valuable, like it said in there. Yeah, it's going to be put to use. Yes. But I'm happy I learned something from you. I didn't know there was 250 promises in there. Yeah. So basically, if you went to a promise meeting, it would have to be a marathon. You'd have
That's
to
what people were telling me that
It would take a while to go through the 250
told me
promises.
a whole meeting be nothing but talking about the promises. We mentioned them all. So
That ain't bad. So, all right, bro. Thanks. I'm happy to see you. And if you like, come back. We're here twice a week. And yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Let's see. Hey, Al from Vegas. Al, come on in, buddy.
Thank you. Very kind. Al from Vegas. Yeah. Paul, I was in another meeting, not cheating on you. And the topic, can I have this right now? Is it a conditional tense? Must I jump through some hoops to become this new character? Or can I just have it right now without time, duration of sobriety, without knocking out all that step work? Is there something? I know there is, but I want to hear it from you.
Oh, you want to hear that from me?
Well, no, I'd like to hear your take on, can I have it now?
Well, obviously, if you don't know, you can have it now.
You're denying me?
No, I'm just a factual observation. If your hope is and you want is to have it now and you're not demonstrating it, then obviously you can't have it now.
Well, I think I have it now, right or wrong. I might be lost myself.
Therefore, all right. So maybe I believe you do and everyone else, but I also believe certain things can be obscuring that. And you may need to jump through some hoops, especially make sure they're not your hoops. Yeah. You may have to jump through some hoops to weaken that obscuring so you can see the unsuspected inner resource as a fact in your life. Yes.
I neglected to identify myself as the voice of the people. The next speaker is going to tell you something to the effect, he'll tell me, Al, you lighten up on yourself. He's a friend, you know. Hey, lighten up on yourself, Al. But I'm bringing the voice of the people. That's my shtick. It's my thing.
I'm happy. And we're not telling you lighten up either. Yeah.
If I was any lighter, I'd float away, buddy. I really would just float away.
Well, you have a purpose. Nobody can do Al as good as you, so you're going to have to stick around for a while until
My
we get.
speciality, yes.
We need a replacement. I've been putting out ads, but I haven't gotten us a competent enough person to take your place.
I'm secure in this. Yeah, nobody wants this.
We've had a meeting about you, Al. We want to, evict you from this Zoom square. We're waiting.
It wouldn't be the first eviction I've experienced.
No one fulfills the requirements necessary.
I gotta hear the next hand. I have a shut here. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Al. Yeah.
Thanks, Al. Paul, we got one more. Mike M. Come on in, Mike.
Mike M.
Unmute and come on in, buddy. There he is.
First of all, Al, this isn't about you, but I'll make it about you another time. Paul, thank you so much, because the first promise I experienced was that I was going to keep getting loaded again if I could not or would not give myself to this simple program. And that promise was beautiful, because I really think that is the first negation that I am crack or I am vodka. Like, I really saw the powerlessness, and there was relief in knowing that I was powerless. Who the fuck would ever believe that? No one wants to admit complete defeat. Well, I couldn't admit it. So it happened on its own. The surrender was brought to me. It wasn't my doing. That was the first real promise. And then these other promises, I tried to use my human best to produce these promises. And it wasn't happening because it didn't look the way that I or self thought it should look. So when these things naturally start occurring, it's a shock to the failed system, because it seemed natural to me. to self-forget when this program started working. And I truly believe there was things I should still be angry about or whatever. That's what the parasite was telling me. So your take on this is so beautiful, and it really hit home, because I didn't fly all over the country to make amends. If I happened to be there, I did, but I was part of a group like, well, if you're not getting on the plane and you're not this and you're not that. And once again, I was trying to use like self or human powers that were telling me what I needed to do to access God. And that put me in more of a tizzy, because it put me deeper in the bondage of self based on doing this the right or the wrong way. So I just had a really explosive connection to this program and how much I love it, based on, like the dude was saying, yeah, there's 250 promises throughout the book, but I don't focus on making those happen. I have a daily reprieve that is contingent on a practice, and it's just a practice. I don't sit and see how big my muscles are going to grow while I'm fucking curling weights in the gym. You just practice, show up. What a beautiful thing. There's no pressure to bring about a spiritual experience. I tried to do that. What a fucking nightmare. So I just had a lovely awakening as you were speaking to how incredible this process is. And I would not want to miss this process, and I wouldn't want anybody else to. And any way that we can deliver that message, whether it's what Al was talking about, you or anybody else on here, that is how we be of service with our experiences of doing everything we could do to see there was nothing we could do. God damn, this thing, man. You guys, if you haven't had a deep experience through these steps, I highly recommend it. The freedom will overwhelm you. You won't even know what to do with this fucking power. It's crazy. So I love you, Paul. Thanks for holding the space, man.
Well, that's a nice one to end on. So I think I'm going to start saying goodbye. Thank you very much. See, this is the living of things speaking. Yes? Yeah. We're not talking about effects. We're talking from the effects. Have you ever heard like an old timer and they have a timber, like they're rich by being under this influence all these years. Yes, there's a richness, and mostly in spite of themselves, probably, but you can hear it. It's like a clang in a bell that has a incredible vibrato. This is it. We're not talking about the effects. We're talking about shit from the effects of this program. That's the beauty of it. It's a living message. Yeah. And a lot of us, we've been on an operating table for a long time, and all we did was not doing things, which was we didn't get up and we didn't play doctor. That's it. The requirements are negative in reality. Yeah, it's not doing something. So I didn't get up and I didn't play doctor, and it's gone fucking pretty well. Yeah. So that becomes a living principle. It's not like something I have to think about choosing to do or not every day. I'm in the habit of it. Yeah. Based on the fucking results, not on the advertising. Like Budweiser, I always talk about Budweiser because when I was a kid, it sucked. Yeah. And it always sucks. And then all they do is change bottles or cans. Now they have 4 places you can open because they never changed the fucking product. So it's all about advertising, change the package, but not the fucking meat. And this AA is the exact opposite. The head does not deliver the goods. This program will deliver the goods. If it hasn't already, it says as the promise in there, it will. And it does. Yeah. And we're here to verify it. If you're in the willing stage, where you don't know or not, we're here to verify it does. Yeah. Yes, it's basically guaranteed. If we follow these suggestions and we do this and do that, these effects are going to occur. Yeah. So, all right. Well, John, Florida, thank you so much. I'm very happy I've met you through the Zoom. Michael, as always, Al, Vegas, Christine in Kona. We got Gary in Placerville. Nice to see Gary. Bill Church on his DSS Enterprise. San Diego, Steve, Axel, Martin, Terry from Camarillo, Tom, Denver, Joseph in France, David, Jeff P, Southern Cal, riding his bike. What a life, man. Southern Cal, they have an incredible, I always love, you can ride like in these boardwalks from, I think, past Redondo Beach to Santa Monica. It's a beautiful way. Boom. Mia, nice to see you, Mia. Sean, Catherine in Maine, nice to see you, Catherine. Yeah. Roman Mueller, as always, thank you so much. Our regards and all our juice to Barbara. Miss Volkman, yes. She's going to be unvoked. She's going to be unawake soon. She's going to go out cold. Chris B in Massachusetts. Eddie Klein, nice to see. I think Eddie did taking a nap. Andrew Fletch. Phone numbers, Jane G in Mill Valley, homegirl, Sean, Paula. Hey, thank you, everyone. This is what a privilege just to sit with all of us under that loving presence. Yeah, it's incredible.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Stall.
Thanks, boy.